right, so we're live and we've got about 25, maybe 30 minutes of content to share with you this Friday, which is the AEP Eve. Eve the dog's excited about it today.
Yeah.
If you haven't been collecting scopes, gathering information, and exiting your home, you're probably already behind in the race.
Too late.
But this video probably won't come out until the race has begun, but we're excited to share a few thoughts on maximizing your time during open enrollment. But to shake things up a little bit today, Nick, I'm going to give the hot take to start, and I'm going to give a hot take to wrap if you're open for a little shake up this afternoon.
It sounds good to me. Is my video like way behind? I'm just going to ignore what the video says if you're fine on your end, because on mine, the audio is fine, but there's a huge delay on the video. But I'll just ignore the video.
One day we're going to get a studio, and it's going to be so badass that people are going to be like, "Who are those sexy people on screen?"
Right. Like I pay for really like high-speed internet and everything. Also, it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
But oh well.
So we're going to throw an opener hot take to start today. We're going to wrap with a hot take. This whole thing might be as freaking hot as it gets, but hey, maybe more than 50 people will watch it if it's that exciting.
Spicy.
Here we go. What is a real reason to leave an FMO that you have an existing relationship with? By existing relationship, I mean more than 6 months, because you don't know someone until you've known them for more than 6 months.
Sure.
You've written business, you've bought leads, you've met with them, like an existing relationship. What's a real reason to terminate that relationship?
Oh man, you really want me to get myself in trouble today. This is just nothing but like spicy hot takes.
As hot as it can get.
Yeah. Well, so if it turns out they're stealing from you, that's a really good reason. I have unfortunately had to deal with that. If it turns out that they are not capable of providing you with the services you need, and you've given them opportunities, like it's not just like, hey, I want X, Y, or Z, and you've given them an opportunity. I'll give you a very real example. I'll give you one of my agents left me on good terms because what they really wanted was to start taking live transfer leads in a call center type of situation. They're like, I'm tired of going out and running individual appointments. I just don't have the bandwidth for it. I've got whatever, like they had reasons. And they had a background of being in a call center type of environment, and they'd worked with me for like a year, and they were like, I'd really rather go back to a call center type of environment. I think it just fits my personality better. And we talked about it, and I said, like I can try and help you out, but it's really not what I do, like at all. And maybe I try and help you find somebody who can service that better, because that's not what I do, and it's not really what we do. It's not our strength. Telesales is not our thing. And so he went off, and last time I talked to him, he was very happy with his new situation in that call center style environment. So that's an example of like, I could not provide something for this agent that this agent felt like they needed. And sometimes that's very legitimate, right? It's not always a bad thing. Not everybody is a good fit for every organization. Maybe, you're the type of person who really wants to maximize grassroots style marketing, sending out lots of cold letters to people turning 65, going to a lot of Chamber of Commerce events, manning a Walmart booth, doing a lot of festivals and stuff like that. If you already know how to do all of that stuff, and you want to come work with me, I can definitely help you. But if you don't know how to do all of that stuff, man, that's just not what I teach people to do. I'm not the person for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like talking about it from the perspective of me and my agents is how I'm going to keep myself out of trouble, because then I don't have to bring up anybody else and what they do or don't do. Things like, is your IMO actually doing the things that you need from an IMO or an FMO? I've had to leave places in the past because really all I want from my FMO situation is help with contracting. Like, that's all I want. I want somebody who is going to take the contracting off my plate so I can focus on onboarding and training agents. And I don't really want my FMO involved in my training of my agents. I don't really want my agents thinking about who I'm getting my contracts for them through. Like, I don't want them involved in our lives. I have a specific system that I'm working with that I'm trying to show to people.
Yeah.
And I don't want them confusing that. And so I have had to walk away from more than one FMO situation where they were either trying to get in between me and my agents, or they were not capable of handling the task that was the most important to me, which was the contracting bit. They weren't able to get agents contracted and onboarded and up and running. As an agent who doesn't have agents below you, that's maybe not as big an issue, but you may have things that you need from your IMO. When I was a new agent and I was starting out, one of the things that I needed an IMO who was going to be able to tell me what carriers to write.
Yeah.
And I needed an IMO who was going to be able to be like, hey, this is who you should be writing in this county. This is why you should be writing this IMO in this county. Here's how to submit apps with this carrier.
Time out. Can somebody please tell me, in the world, how do you submit Keystone 65 business? Like, I have
like the VIP choice DSNP plan, right? Is specifically what you're having a problem with. I don't.
Yes. I have several situations where I have folks with home care, like legitimately.
I don't know anybody who knows the answer to that.
I had a situation yesterday
in the Philadelphia area.
I think we have a little bit of a connection issue, but Nick, I had a situation yesterday. I had to evacuate the home. The lady said, my doctor told me I couldn't come in anymore because I came in with bed bugs.
Oh, no.
And I said, I appreciate the ability to be able to help you today. I'm going to be able to help you over the phone going forward. And I evacuated the premises as quickly as possible. But she was trying to get home care. Home care takes Keystone VIP. I don't know how I'm signed up for that. I passed the damn test for it. Someone tell me how to enroll them.
Paper app. It's the only thing that I know. I like you call them up and you get paper enrollment kits and you submit paper apps. I think that's it. Like, I don't know of any electronic application software system that they accept. They are a small company housed inside another small company. So like teeny tiny little company housed inside this larger, still very small company.
Yeah.
And they're completely separate from the rest of Independence Blue Cross. They're like a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And the Keystone VIP DSNP, if you're watching this and you work in the Philadelphia area and you have a lot of familiarity with the Keystone VIP Choice dual eligible, get in contact with Chris.
I'll take you out for dinner. I'll make
sure. Yeah, like I don't even I never even try with them because I write so little directly inside of Philadelphia that they're very rarely a good choice for me in the suburbs.
I write almost everything inside of Philadelphia.
But if you're
paper application, I'm going to send it in and see what happens, just for pure 2016 kind of fun. Back to our hot take this morning, and we are going to get to the main topic, which is maximizing your time for AEP. Nick, there are situations in business, both Medicare, final expense, independent distribution, where a problem that needs to be fixed is identified, is correctable, might take a few weeks to fix, but is a fixable type problem. Not that you're upline stealing your agents or stealing your wife or stealing your money, but the mail stops coming in, or a thing stopped working and that thing just needs to push a few buttons and it'll work again. Sure. Are those the type of issues to sever a relationship over when you identify a correctable problem?
No, I mean, man, if you're in this business for any length of time, you're going to have lead problems. Jesus. Or man, Sunfire, right? I love Sunfire. I'm going to preface this by saying I love Sunfire. Sunfire is my preferred electronic platform. It is what I use more than anything. I find it to be very useful, even with its drawbacks and quirks. Every year around October 1st, Sunfire breaks.
Completely broken.
It's just completely broken for everybody. And so sometimes it feels very personal, like, why is this broken for me? But it's not you. It's just Sunfire is just going to be broken. And it might stay broken, honestly, for the first couple of weeks of AEP, and that is going to suck. And that has nothing to do with your upline, and that has nothing to do with you. And it probably has nothing to do with your ready to sell status. I mean, unless it does, like, unless you're not ready to sell, in which case, fix that. But it just breaks every year. Every year since I started using it in 2019, 2020, something like that. Every year it breaks. And then it's fixed and it's fantastic again by like November 1st. And it's just a thing you put up with because most of the year it's good. And then it breaks at the beginning of the year. Humana's software, by the way, also frequently just breaks at the beginning of AEP. We don't know if it's going to break this year. It hasn't yet, but often just breaks. It's complicated software. It really actually is pretty complicated software. And there are a lot of moving pieces that need to get updated at the beginning of every AEP. And it is time sensitive. So it all has to only get updated like in a really small 2-week window. And so, yeah, some companies are capable of making it work and some are not.
Interesting observation, though. You said not to take it personal. I think it's the human nature kind of habit to take a thing personal. Like one of the agents I work with, you met him at the event in Philly. He has this tract where he teaches himself now that, well, this thing went wrong, but it's not against me. It's just a thing that went wrong. I can't take that thing personal. You know, lead shortages, Sunfire disruptions, carrier issues, contracting delays. Like the world is really too busy to think someone's sitting behind a desk that makes money from your efforts thinking, man, I'm going to F Nick on this one. Like I am purposely going to F him on this. Like just not how it works. Like there's people on a salary that do salary-based work for 8 hours a day and their day is finished. There's software that works and sometimes it doesn't. There's junk mail that goes out and sometimes they don't fill it out. And sometimes they don't push the button for the mail to go out, or the mail doesn't leave the post office, or all kinds of things can go wrong. And the thing is that almost none of them are personally against us, right?
And extrapolate that out even further. Honestly, like when you're going and sitting with prospects, sometimes people aren't going to buy from you. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people aren't going to give you the time of day. Sometimes people aren't going to be willing to set an appointment with you. Sometimes people aren't, you're going to present them with something completely rationally, obviously in their best interest, and they're just going to stare at you glassy-eyed and not even actually have listened to you. That's not you. That's like this is like sales 101, right? You don't know what else is happening behind the scenes. Yeah. And it's not about you like 99.9% of the time. Somebody cancels their policy, it's probably not about you. Somebody, you get a complaint filed, it's probably not about you. Like it's just most of the time, like, I mean, I hate to say it, but most of the time you're just not that important or special to these people, to any of them, all the way up and down the line. There are people that you have personal relationships with that you are probably important and special to, but most of these people who you have met or spoken to once or twice, or maybe you talk to them once a month, you just don't matter that much to them. And it's not personal. And this is, at the end of the day, it's a sales job. And that is the most important lesson that any person working in sales can learn. It's not about you.
Well said. We've got 15, 10, 11, I don't know how many minutes, but plenty of minutes to talk about maximizing your time during AEP. I think we could go in great depth with this, almost Joe Rogan kind of depth with this, but I'm going to start off with a simple question. You run into somebody during annual enrollment where you have about a 6-week period of time to write as much business with as least amount of hassle, and you run into somebody who has no Part A, no Part B, like one of the things they need is missing.
Right.
To what length do you go to attempt to get them that thing to then sell them your thing? Or do you simply move on to the next?
During AEP?
During AEP.
0 minutes.
0 minutes.
Yeah, they're not a prospect. I move on. I hand them my business card, tell them, hey, when and if you get this, give me a call. This is like, there are too many people that actually need your help who are ready for this during AEP. Outside of AEP,
Sure.
I'll give them a half hour.
You run into somebody who is in a solid plan. Like maybe it's one of your favorite plans regionally. I ran into a lady yesterday with an Aetna dual plan. Plan's awesome. Doctors and network, everything's fine. They're handing out money like it's candy. How much time do you spend trying to unpack other opportunities and other? They're in a good plan. What do you do?
No, walk away.
Consider a cross sale if they're not
Yeah,
dual,
yeah.
light sale, but
Like if they wanted to talk to you about this for a reason, like find out what their reason for wanting to talk to you about it is. Like at the end of the day, identifying a person's why, identifying, not creating or telling them, but identifying their reason for wanting to talk to you is the single most critical thing that you can do. Again, in sales, this is just sales. It doesn't matter what kind of sales you're in. But no, if they're in the best situation for them, and boy, wow, it's not everywhere in the United States, but like right now in the Philadelphia area and in several other states, like the Aetna dual eligible plan. Holy cow! Walk away. Don't do harm. Like first, do no harm should be everybody's like watchword. Keep people in the best situation that is possible for them.
Next one I got for you as we talk about maximizing our time with the time we have for AEP. Agree or disagree, 99% of things in life can probably wait until you finish your schedule and your production goals for that sales week.
I mean, like everything.
Yeah, like oil changes, dentist appointments, doctor visits, haircuts, mailing in a letter, going to the Walmart to pick up dog food. Like all of these like menial distractions that I find people distracted by, they can probably wait until your sales week's done, right?
All of it. Okay, I make exceptions for things that directly involve my child that are like non-repeatable. So like if my child is going to be in a school play in the middle of the afternoon, and she's old enough now that that's not likely to happen anymore. But when she was like in kindergarten and like they were going to do the Halloween parade, if that was on a Monday, she's only going to be in the kindergarten Halloween parade once ever.
And it's for about an hour too. It's not like
I'm going to do that. But otherwise, no. Especially like, and the way that I set my schedule is Monday is 100%. And everybody in my life, not just my family, everybody in my life knows I don't do anything on Monday but talk to prospects. That's the only thing I do on Monday. I don't take people's phone. Like I take agents' phone calls, but they count. But like I don't take phone calls for anything that is not like business related on a Monday at all. And usually I hit my goals by the end of the day on Monday, but if I don't, everything can wait until I do, because like my life doesn't work if I haven't hit my goals. Like I need to hit my goals. Otherwise, I got bills to pay. And if I start letting that slide, eventually, I mean, it may not affect me this week. It may not affect me next week. It's probably realistically not going to affect me unless I stop hitting my goals for a very long time. But at some point, that's going to catch up. And you got to not let that happen. Keep good habits.
Good habits are hard to make and easy to break.
Yep.
Bad habits are easy to create and hard to break. It's like one of the most unfortunate ironies in the business and in life and in adulthood, and the fact that yes, can't miss kid events, go to that stuff. But
yeah,
like your prospect would say to you, I got a doctor's appointment, I can't meet today. Fool, absolutely you could. I can come there at 5 o'clock. If they're in the Halloween parade at 10:30, why can't you be in the field at 11, 11:30 and run half of a day? It's not ideal. You should routinely run half days, but you can go to can't miss events and go to the field and optimize that time. and then accomplish both life and the goals in between. What would you say are some other situations where you really need to focus on maximizing your time in the sales presentation with those prospects with the 6 weeks that we have?
In AEP, I would be very, very careful to only be talking to people who are enthusiastic about wanting to talk to you. There are two, assuming you are going out and seeing a lot of people,
Mhm.
right? So, on the assumption that you are not short of prospects and that you're not going to be sitting on your hands and that there is always somebody lined up immediately to go see after you walk out the door from the person you're talking to. And that's the number one assumption, right? You got to be in that situation first. I would then be very cautious to only talk to people who are enthusiastic about talking to you. If you have to like twist their arm, if you have to struggle or fight with them to want to have the conversation at all during AEP, it's not worth it, man. There are like everybody is a prospect during AEP. There are so many people who are prospects during AEP that if you've got a full day lined up for yourself of people that you could potentially see, you've got you've got a stack full of leads and you've got prospects and you've got current clients and like, man, just go talk to the next one.
Yeah.
Move on. Don't spend your time fighting with people. Maybe you file them away to go talk to them in January. Yeah, follow up. But AEP is not the time.
I have
AEP is the time to be moving on and talking to everybody who wants to talk to you, because there are going to be way more of those people than there are others. And don't waste your time with the people that are difficult.
about how long should the average appointment take?
It's different now. So it's different now because of the 48-hour scope of appointment rule. Some of this is going to depend on when you got your scope of appointment. But I would say if you are showing up to an appointment, scope already in hand, which would I imagine means that you already have their red, white, and blue card information, because you can get that before you get the scope filled out. Maybe have their medications already. Maybe.
Mhm.
Sort of depends on how the conversation goes, how you met them in the first place. But if you're talking about just the sales presentation of like, hey, this is the plan that we've identified for you. Let me present this plan to you. Here's your scope's all done. Let's present a plan to you. 20 minutes.
I agree.
You're presenting the plan, you're answering questions, going back and forth. The enrollment itself takes like 2.5, 3 minutes, right? Just doing the review of like, a refresher. This is how Medicare works. This is how this plan works with Medicare. This is what this is going to do for you. This is how it compares to your previous plan. If you had a previous plan, if this is your first time going on to a Medicare plan, this is, how this whole thing works to begin with. Yeah. 20 minutes.
Well said. In short, might not be that hot of a take, but we only have about 3 minutes left out of each other's schedule today. Communication. We're all adults here. We're obviously over the age of 18, hold some form of professional license, a bank account, the ability to drive a car, manage problems, have kids, been in relationships. Speak to the value in 60 seconds of communication in business when you're speaking about somebody in hierarchy, management, agency type environment.
I mean, like, we're in sales. That's what we do, right? Communicate. I mean, like, that is, at the end of the day, our job can be defined as being professional communicators. If you are not in control of how you communicate, if you do not have the ability to modulate how you communicate to different audiences, if you don't have the ability to effectively communicate and follow up and stay in contact, maybe this isn't the right job for you. I mean, that's it. That's the whole job, right? Like, that's all of it. You can do this job very well and know absolutely nothing about Medicare and have somebody else do the explaining the Medicare side of things to you, and then you just regurgitate and communicate that out. But a person who cannot communicate effectively, but knows everything there is to know about Medicare, will fail. Like, you can know everything there is to know about Medicare and not be capable of communicating that information, and you will fail. And you can know nothing about Medicare, but be able to communicate the ideas that somebody else has handed to you and be wildly successful. At the end of the day, whether you're talking to a prospect, whether you're talking to a fellow agent, whether you're talking to somebody in an IMO or an FMO or at a carrier, your ability to communicate is all you have. Be a good communicator. It is like nothing else matters. Like, it's it. That's our job. That's the whole job.
Well said. Our 201st video on the life insurance and everything in between channel. Appreciate you being here today, Nick. Appreciate those that you watched. And if you're watching, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment below on what you'd like us to talk about. And as you approach annual enrollment over the coming days, just put one foot in front of the next, one door to the next, one dial to the next, tackle one problem at a time, and know you have everything that you need. You know more than they do, and put people in the best situation you can find. Take care, and thanks for watching.